was all there in front of your face.
I just hate looking at him. What a loser, dude.
The man you're looking at is 24-year-old YouTuber Randy Stair. He's obsessed with two things not often found together, the cartoon Danny Phantom and Columbine.
And Smosh.
Although this should have raised red flags when Randy's descent into madness went overlooked by those around him, nothing would stand in his way from becoming a mass killer. What's up, Iwu crew?
Oh my god, wait, you guys have to wait and see if you can find it, because there's a picture. That's how I saw it. There is a picture from some of his footage where you can see like Smosh merch. What a loser.
What's up, Iwu crew?
Loser!
Here to share another shocking, interesting, or just strange but very true story with you. Today's subject is Randy Stair, more popularly remembered as Andrew Blaze. Despite being known by his YouTube pseudonym, I'm going to use his legal name Randy when talking about him, as this is the name that would eventually become infamous. What makes this case uniquely disturbing is the fact that Randy actually videotaped everything, up until the day of his massacre, and left behind a trail of disturbing clues in preparation for his final plan.
Is it just me, or did all the B-roll we just watched look very reminiscent of like old Smosh too? I have to disclaimer once again, I'm not commenting on that to try to connect the two entities. Obviously, they had nothing to do with this tragedy that happened, but as a former group member, I cannot help but notice and comment on it, dude.
And although all the signs were there that something was about to go very wrong, Randy's fans either ignored it or didn't take it seriously. But Randy was dead serious, and I'm not exaggerating when I say the motive behind his massacre is the most bizarre I've ever heard. Randy first became interested in YouTube in 2008, eventually creating a channel called Pioneer Productions. At first, his content seemed pretty normal. He created Let's Plays, filming himself and his reactions as he played video games. And sometimes he'd act out skits with a toy frog and stuffed whale. He rubbed shoulders with some popular creators in YouTube's early days. He was mentioned at one point in a Ray William Johnson video, bragged that Fred supposedly liked one of his videos, and was even friends with Plasma Master Dawn, a YouTuber who recently died and was then allegedly exposed as a sex offender. But as Randy's videos went on...
Okay, but in my defense, in that video, they just mentioned those other YouTubers because, like, it's interesting knowing what he was connected to.
There was a noticeable
It's all the
change.
same if we covered somebody that was a
Randy was
Minecraft
obsessed
stand.
with the Nickelodeon cartoon Danny Phantom, which follows the adventures of main character Danny Fenton, who became a human-ghost hybrid after an accident involving the portal between the human world and the ghost zone. This is where Randy first saw the character Ember McLean. She was his first crush, and the moment he laid eyes upon her in his late elementary years, he said he instantly felt something change within him.
Like, if you look on the poster behind me, those were inspired by Ember McLean, which is a ghost from a TV show called Danny Phantom, which started back in 2003, 2004. You know, I was in late elementary school at that
6
time.
days
But this
before.
ghost, this woman always connected with me. But ever since I first saw her, something changed. And it wasn't like I grew up or anything like that. Like I realized, oh my gosh, I'm attracted to girls and all this. No, it just, something changed. It was like a spark. And it just connected with me. It made me feel warm inside. And it felt very familiar, which was strange. It was like I'd seen her before.
He said his official Ember phase started in 2010, but later said this obviously wasn't a phase, but a realization. As Randy fell down the rabbit hole of this infatuation, he created his own spin-off characters, also known as OCs, original characters.
He tried to create a whole other series, which was kind of like, he tried to do like another YouTube like animated series.
Along with his own animated series based on the show. This series was called Ember's Ghost Squad.
Yep. Oh, I watched those. They were
was
weird.
So invested in his animated series that he had stickers of his fictional characters on his car. What started out as a seemingly innocent partaking of a fandom was about to turn into something far more disturbing. But in hindsight, perhaps the signs of Randy's dark side were evident in his early years.
Oh, God, these people are nuts.
He was described as shy. He desperately wanted friends and began struggling with thoughts of death in elementary school.
This room is
fantasizing
different?
that he
Okay.
board a plane and it would crash, so it would be an insta-death. Death was even a reoccurring theme in the games Randy would play as a child, making the childhood videos he'd upload all the more eerie to look back on.
So why don't you? It's not that easy. I can't suffer, not just me, but all the people who made me suffer.
Why do you want to die so much? It's good to be living.
No, it's not.
His loneliness would follow him into high school. Though he described having a few friends, he never had a girlfriend or went on a date. It was during this time that Randy seemed to start crying out for help through attention-seeking behavior, such as writing stories in class where the characters would die horrible and gruesome deaths. He couldn't believe his teachers didn't care.
I must have wrote like 4 or 5 stories where the character got killed at the end, and I actually turned these in as assignments, and I never got like any like weird looks from the teacher or anything. She was a nice teacher and everything, really great. Yeah, the teacher never like felt concerned or anything. I just remember not getting.
That's really interesting because he wanted something out of that. Like, and I mean, if they called him cries for help. But if the teacher had responded or acknowledged these things, it might have told him, like, yeah, when you do scary, dark things, people will ask you how you're doing. And that's the only way that anyone will care about how you're doing. I don't think she should have acknowledged that.
Getting any feedback in terms of that. So I don't know what she was thinking, but
Soon enough, Randy started investing more time into Pioneer Productions, and it wasn't long before YouTube became his passion in life. To get more and more isolated, he was almost always alone in his videos. Something inside Randy would begin to break in his late high school years as he prepared to enter the real world. He began getting poor grades as he neared graduation, and he hated his job working at the Wise supermarket.
And high school, I was that typical jaded teenager, just don't want to be here, don't want to do anything. I'm bored with my life. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. The typical teenage drama you deal with.
Yo, Chard, thank you for the
Having
prime.
no clue what he wanted to do with his life, he started to go down a dark path, fantasizing about setting himself on fire like the cartoon character Ember and taking his own life. And something would happen to Randy that would change him forever. One of his brother's friends, Tom, died in a car crash.
Tom Lynch. He was in my brother's grade. He's a grade below me, but I've had a class with him before and whatnot, so I knew him. And
Dude, okay. At the same time, we're about to go in deep. We got 40 minutes left. We're about to watch so much footage. And keep in mind, some of you guys might see yourself in them or try to empathize or something. This man killed 4 people that were just shopping at a grocery store. Like older people that had families, younger people, literally, like that. But I do kind of ask myself too, with all this backstory on it, how could this guy have even been helped? Like, I'm really not, I don't know, but that's part of what I like to assess when going through these kind of cases, because it's like, rather than just sitting here and critiquing and, saying like, this guy's a f***ing loser, don't do this shit, I still also want to understand, like, how do we actually prevent this too,
he died on his way to school in the morning, crashed into a tree, smashed into a tree, dead on arrival at the hospital. And that was the first time I got messed up. That messed me up.
Though he hadn't known Tom well, he said his death really affected him. His daydreams in class became consumed with either YouTube or death, and his growing fixation on the morbid subject would lead him to start a strange tradition, driving by the location of Tom's death every year on the same day he died.
When I'm not thinking about YouTube or my family or what I love, I'm always thinking about what happens after you die. I want to do everything I possibly can in life before I'm dead. And that's just a scary thought. It's like everything has to end sometime. I'll be dead one day. You'll be dead one day. It's not good to think about stuff like that. I know this is scary stuff, but it is just weird.
Yeah, actually, I think another really big part of this, what I'm hearing is, it seems like Randy didn't know how to ask for help, or maybe felt like his feelings weren't valid, and instead, he was throwing hints of how sad he was. So he's writing stories about death. He's filming these concerning videos. He's acting out and making all this crazy behavior, and then he's hoping that somebody will say, hey, are you okay? Can we talk? Can we check in? He, unfortunately for him, the proper skill of saying to someone, I am very depressed and like starting to feel a little suicidal, I need to talk to somebody. Because at this point, he had parents that probably still could have helped him too. He didn't know how to ask, probably because he felt like people didn't care.
Randy claimed to be struck by tragedy again after one of his newest friends, Matt, also suddenly died in a car accident. Death sucked the life out of me. Matt's death killed me.
Doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna die. You'll end up dead one day. It's like right now. Someone right now is going to sleep. They're gonna wake up tomorrow and be dead. Someone's gonna die tomorrow that just went to sleep. And they don't know that. They're gonna go to sleep now, wake up tomorrow, go into the world, and they're gonna die somehow. Car accident, heart attack, some other supernatural force or whatever. Yeah, just... I think about
that's
that
true,
a lot,
Gud.
too.
I believe
It's
that.
Weird. I think about death a lot. And I take
That's a
no shame
great
in thinking
response,
about dying
Gud.
a lot, but I seriously do think about death all the time, and it's not a good thing. Death is not fun to think about. In a way, it's like an escape. For me, it is.
Not long after, Randy himself ended up getting into a car accident, and it was like this event flipped a switch in him, causing his obsessions to spiral into an even darker, deeper place. Randy began to fixate on the idea of getting older, and this idea terrified him. This fear would eventually warp into a disgust for older people, and Randy decided that living past the age of 30 was pointless.
Is that why he killed older people?
It was here that he decided he wanted to die young and soon.
There would be no possible way I could live until I was 60-something. Not a chance in hell. Honestly, I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people get up every day and go to like a dead-end job, come home, do the same exact routine every day, every weekend. How do you honestly do that? I was never able to compute it in my head. How do you live on this planet for decades upon decades upon decades? I honestly don't know how you do it.
At the same time, Randy was developing some other strange ideas involving the cartoon character Ember, writing in his journal, "I miss my cartoon-like form. Bodies in this dimension are tolerable, but they're nothing compared to that dimension."
This is
And
escapism at its
when
max
Ember
core.
came back into my life. It was in 2013. That was it. From that point forward, she never left my life again, ever.
He became convinced that after he died, he would return to his true form, a ghost girl just like Ember, and that he'd live on with the fictional characters he'd created in Ember's Ghost Squad, or EGS. This was what Randy called his big realization, that he didn't belong here on Earth. He was actually a ghost girl, and the only way he could return to what he was truly supposed to be was by dying. During this time, he also began struggling with his gender identity, leading him to experiment with wearing bras.
I guess what it came down to was I felt like I was like transgender or something. Like I felt like a woman the whole time, which spiritually I'm a woman. I'm a female soul. But I had to live in a man's body
MC
to
said
do what I
egg?
set out
Question
to do.
mark.
That was my soul contract. That was what I was meant to do.
Soul contract.
He eventually stole clothes out of his mother's closet and cross-dressed when no one else was home.
I was cross-dressing ever since high school. When you guys would go to your bowling leagues and Jeremy would go with you, I would either film a YouTube video, back in early high school, 9th, 10th, 11th grade. I would pretty much always film a YouTube video between 9th and 10th grade on every Wednesday when you would go out the door. So I would either film a video or I would cross-dress. And that's something I've kept to myself my whole life. I never told anybody about this.
He wrote in his journal, "I sit here alone on my bed full of emptiness. I'm wearing my girl clothes with my legs crossed. Why am I damned to spend 2 to 3 decades in this disgusting body? I'm not a man. Sorry, Mom and Dad, but I'm not sorry.
Was
I'm
he-
a woman.
was he- wait,
Each and every
is he
day
saying
it
he's
gets harder
trans
and
or he was
harder to live in this
cross-dressing?
body. I'm wearing my female natural selection shirt with my American Eagle bra, panties, and black."
So something to know here, which is like really, this is him talking about like being trans and like his whole experience. Maybe he's talking about cross-dressing and then, And then he says, "I'm wearing my female natural selection shirt with my American Eagle bra, panties, and black leggings." Just so you guys have scope, the natural selection t-shirt that he's talking about, that's paying homage to Eric Harris from Columbine, who before he massacred 17 people, or not 17, I think more than that, and then tried to blow up the entire fucking cafeteria, he arrived to Columbine wearing a shirt that says natural selection, implicative that he is the selector of who lives and who dies. This is a person with a major God complex, and paying homage to that is not something that I'm excusing in anybody.
Black leggings. I guess the proper term would be transgender, but I don't even fully agree on that. I'm legit a girl trapped inside a boy's body. I'm a femme soul. Randy began taking action to change his appearance in order to better match his ghost girls. He skipped meals when he could, surprised that his family didn't notice, and started shaving all of his body hair with a woman's razor. At first he hid his razor in a drawer in his room, but then for some reason decided to keep it out in the open. Again, he couldn't believe that no one noticed. Perhaps it started to seem to him like nothing he did really made a difference. Maybe he started thinking he'd need to do something more drastic to get people's attention.
Every year of my life since 2013, I just felt more and more feminine. Can't even explain it. Look at the bathroom. Look at where my stuff was. You'll see there's a girl's Venus razor there. There's the Skintimate stuff that girls use to shave their legs and arms with. Every 3 days since like 2016, I've been shaving my arms and legs.
The other thing that's annoying about this too is he's using him being trans and his gender dysphoria, which it sounds like he doesn't really understand, as a reason for saying that he's an outcast. This video was filmed 6 days before his plan, before he shot everyone and killed them. I think this video is kind of his manifesto, and I think this is just my interpretation of it. What he's trying to say here is, I'm different, I'm weird, nobody accepted me. If he was in this era right now of YouTube especially, he would have flourished, he would have grown, he would have been more than accepted. And he was only a few years out from this. Like, this change was already kind of happening. I think this is more reflective of how Randy felt of himself, but I also understand that that's something that a lot of people struggle with. This is so
One thing I'll
much.
say is like that white.
I wonder
stain
if
on
he
the
ever
floor, like
had
that
therapy.
Splotch you'll see on my carpet. That was an Ember thing. I wanted to make my skin as white as possible to look like her. I wanted it to be completely white, so I bought this body paint, which was like, I don't even know what it was. It was like latex that like it becomes like glued to your skin and you gotta peel it off. And it got on the carpet and then it got freaking in my body hair, which like almost never came out at the time. What little body hair I had at the time anyways, but that stuff never came off. It's funny. Yeah, you're over there sleeping and here I am at 3 a.m. covering myself in this latex.
Randy's inner turmoil was
And
far
that's him victimizing himself again. Here all of you guys are sleeping at night while I'm covering myself in latex and I have to peel it off. My life is so hard. What about the people you killed?
over. And although his passion for Ember would continue to intensify, it wasn't long before he was forming a new obsession, the Columbine High School massacre. He began frequently posting on a Columbine forum and participating in different threads, even a thread for sharing Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold memes. One post that caught his attention read, "I know the students finished the 1999 school year at a nearby school, but I was wondering if they still had to complete their final exams. What about exams for the injured? It'd be so mean to make Patrick take them after he got out of the hospital." Randy replied, "I never thought about that, ha ha ha. Tests had to be the last thing on the surviving victims' minds."
Harry said Columbine fandom is still so wild and impossible to fathom. Dude, it's to these people because what was it? Parkland shooter. He was a big fan of Columbine. Randy Stair, a big fan of Columbine. So many fucking people. To them, they see Columbine as a form of successful retribution from the nerds that got back at everyone that hurt them. That's why they idealize them, because they got press, they got all this stuff in history, all of their manifestos were released. People thought that they looked cool with their little trench coats and glasses shooting these little 90s aesthetic videos, but they're not 90s aesthetic. They're like on a gun range shooting all this stuff. So many of these fucking losers now that feel like a nobody, they think I can be a somebody if I just write a manifesto and I kill people. I think that the Virginia Tech shooter was also heavily inspired by Columbine. Anytime I see a mass killer that takes pictures with their guns and they're wearing all black and a backwards baseball cap, that to me says, I love Eric Harris.
Interested in something, he
There's a
dives
lot
in
of
headfirst
Columbine
with an
fandoms.
almost uncanny hyperfixation. But unfortunately, none of his obsessions were healthy, and now Randy was starting to get ideas. He was also starting to feel increasingly lost in life. During a live stream from 2014, 3 years before his plan, Randy suddenly announced to the dismay of his fans that he wouldn't be around much longer and would probably be leaving YouTube for reasons he couldn't state.
Not leaving right this second. It could be a year, it could be a little bit longer than that. I don't have anything set in stone or anything like that. There's multiple reasons for it. I don't know, I don't really know what to say. It's just like, I'm leaving in like a year.
He ranted about how his YouTube channel was all he ever wanted to do, and how graduating from college for mass communications was a waste of 3 years, because it was a field he said he would never enter. He had his passion for YouTube, but after
he bought
working
an
at it for
iMac?
6 years, he was sure he had
Hold
failed.
on. He bought an iMac in 2014 that is brand new. Motherfucker had money. What? Hello? What's going on?
He had his passion for YouTube, but after working at it for 6 years, he was sure he had failed.
It's expensive. How
Having
much
to
are
accept
those, y'all?
this and figure out a different way to earn money seemed quite difficult for him.
You know, it's like, it's not really, YouTube's not a job or anything like that, but it really is like I have 2 different jobs in my life and having to balance each one. The one I care about most is YouTube,
like
but
yeah.
it's not a job. And that's literally all my time goes into the YouTube channel. I just can't deal with everything anymore.
He also talked about how much he hated his job at the supermarket, but he had to keep it for the money.
Supermarket for 4 years. I'm about to set the place on fire.
Oh,
right now,
did
that's my
he
only source
work
of
there?
income, and I'm not making a lot. I wish I could just do this forever. I wish I could just interact with viewers, do videos, but life doesn't allow that.
He also alluded to something extremely telling.
There's so much more than just like real life problems. There's other just stuff too, that just what's in my head of what I want to do, and just things I don't want to say publicly because it would hurt a lot of people.
But somehow, even after this pessimistic live stream, Randy...
Look at this. He made this shirt. He probably made this shirt himself. I don't know if those little bullet holes of that blood splatter is printed on this shirt, but this shirt is paying homage to Eric Harris. This is your first red flag.
He said that 2014 ended up being one of his best years, and so he held off on planning the grand escape from his human body. However, it wasn't long until he began to feel dissatisfied with life once again, and in 2017 he decided it was time. But before he could do anything, he wanted to finish off the EGS animation project he'd been working on. That, and he needed a weapon. He thought he'd be able to go forward with his big plan in September, figuring he'd finish his project by then. He tried to figure out a way he could decide the date based on coding the letters EGS, E being 5, G being 7, and S being 19.
Okay, Sherry Shriner, calm the f*** down.
For 5 years. He wanted to die so he could become the ghost girl that was clawing to get out.
14, 13, 12 days away from doing this, you know? This is it. There's a lot on my mind. If you're in my position, you'd have a lot on your mind too. Every day,
he
I have to
plotted
make
this
count.
for 2 weeks.
You know, this is it. Just under 2 weeks to live. You got 2 weeks to live. What do? Goddess forbid if somebody does see me blocking the exits, I don't know what they'd say. I don't know what I'd say. Tired of the same old routine. Tired of everything but my girls. That's really it.
In the meantime, Randy began filming a set of tapes for his parents to view after his death, planning to post them online just before he struck. He ranted in his journal about how much he hated humanity and how he was a self-described narcissist who enjoyed watching the tapes of himself over and over again. Pages upon pages of the journal were dedicated to rambling about the Columbine massacre, as he described again and again how he was sucked into the world of Columbine and how he felt a special connection, especially to Eric Harris. He also revealed he was extremely homophobic and racist, writing extensively about his hatred for gay people. His goal to finish the animation project.
I was gonna say this before, but I didn't want to get canceled. I'm gonna say it right now. Earlier, some people were saying some and they were like, no, he had gender dysphoria or he was trans. No, that. He was using his exploration of cross-dressing and his gender dysphoria to justify killing people in a supermarket. You guys, I said it.
Before he died wasn't working out. He complained in his journal that the
and on top of that, yeah, if y'all gonna defend somebody that was out here putting propaganda out against like anybody that wasn't heterosexual, you guys too. Okay, great.
About his hatred for gay people. His goal to finish the animation project before he died wasn't working out. He complained in his journal that the voiceover actresses he hired weren't going fast enough.
I'm buying your stuff.
And he freaked out when an animator didn't want to work on his project because he wasn't comfortable with the theme. See, Randy's animation project was called The Westboro High Massacre. So all things considered, it's weird enough that he found anyone comfortable to
baby.
Voice act for it.
Still don't have it. I sent the script in March. It's June 2nd. Where's my voiceovers,
Thanks,
Laura, that I paid for? Where are they? Better
Thanks for supporting.
have that voiceover by Monday, Laura. You're dead. Makes you feel like you don't even matter. Remember that when you work with people in the future. Because I expected to have this months ago. At least say what's going on so I know. It makes you feel like you don't matter. What the ever. People are worthless stacks of nobody can care.
So that right there is exactly what Randy's trigger is. Feeling like he doesn't matter. And that's why he's going to commit this grocery store massacre, because he thinks he's going to show people that he matters, and then he's going to kill himself and then exit out of the situation. This guy is a piece of shit. Can we permaban anybody that even attempts to defend this one? I mean, like, I'm always saying that about killers, but this is another level.
Until you're dead. It's the sad truth of life. Watch all my social medias. I can't believe he's dead. I'm so sad. I loved his videos.
No, that's not gonna happen, buddy.
I haven't seen Jack on my social media since. And after this happens, people will be like, man, I wish I would have talked to them more. Well, too late. It's always what happened with my fan base. As much as I love my fans, no one said jack to me until I said something big. Like, oh, I'm leaving. If nothing major was happening, it was like I didn't even exist.
Because he doesn't know how to communicate.
I swear to God, this. People can say they cared about me all they want. You didn't show it. But I subscribed to you for years. Who cares? You never said anything. People say they care. I don't care. It's too late now.
But eventually, everything fell apart with the people he was working with. His project was stuck, and he decided he'd had enough, that he couldn't wait any longer. He purchased 2 shotguns, writing in his journal, "You were a fool to trust me with that shotgun. Oh, Mother, if only you realize you just signed my death warrant by taking me to that gun shop."
That just happened. That just fucking happened. Oh my goddess. Oh. My goddess. I am armed. I am armed.
I got it. I got it. 2 Mossberg 500 shotguns.
My boss has been trying to get on day shift or second shift. He had an opportunity to get it, but the way things are looking, he's not gonna get it. So then also put me like on the clock here.
He was a brony too, wasn't he? We know he was. You know what? I don't like to cover manifesto killers. I never like to showcase this kind of stuff because that's what they want. They want to record all this stuff. He knows that this video would never be shown to thousands of people if he didn't do what he did. And that bothers me when I do cover these cases because I'm giving light to these type of people. But what I need your help with, you right there, is to understand that this type of behavior is not cool in the way that he thought it was going to be. He thought it was going to be like Columbine all over again. He thought it was going to be like modern Columbine. He's going to record all these videos and everyone was going to be like, ooh, Randy. Little did he know that years later, there was going to be thousands of people watching this thinking how much of a fucking loser he was. And that's exactly how you prevent more things like this happening, by labeling these people as exactly what they are. Huge fucking delusional losers. Because this is the kind of shit that's gonna get me killed, dude. I'm telling you guys right now. Somebody gonna pop. Let me hold on.
Just barely have enough time.
I gotta lock the door.
Weeks. I want it to be the night of June 9th. I can't tell my parents that I have 2 shotguns now. They know I have the one, but then if they see that I have the exact same gun, but 2 inches shorter on the barrel, it'd be like, why do you need that? And that's when it starts to get into like personal stuff. Like, why do you need 2 shotguns? You're scaring me. Please don't start buying more guns. You know, I have all the pieces. I'm just waiting on getting some eyeliner. So far, it's been okay. I've gotten an occasional like, why are you obsessed with this Columbine? But other than that, virtually nothing. I don't think people would actually think I would actually consider doing something like this.
He took target practice videos in what appeared to be in his backyard with someone else.
He thinks he's so cool. So this video is beyond homage to Eric Harris. Before Columbine happened, Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris started recording this series of videos. They had planned the shooting for a couple months, Columbine, if you guys didn't know that. And prior to that, they had bought all these guns, ammunition, different shotguns, like automatic rifles. I think they even bought pistols. They plan to dual wield because they think they're so fucking cool. And then they recorded a bunch of videos exactly like this. I don't know if any of you true crime fans have seen those before, but the videos were exactly like this, where they were just out shooting in nature. And on top of that, he's wearing his little natural selection shirt.
Else holding the camera and
he's
filming
like, Eric, notice
makes
me.
you wonder who exactly was filming him and how they couldn't have realized something was about to go very wrong. Especially taking Randy's shirt into consideration.
Rampart
The same
Ray, you
shirt
got
Eric
it, man.
Harris wore on the day of the Columbine massacre.
Should I hit the button?
What happened next is almost unbelievable.
What?
Randy began deliberately leaving a disturbing trail of notes and tweets that he was planning something, and the date for his plan was June 7th.
Wait. No, I'm not even gonna read it. F him.
He was not being very subtle at all, but still nobody seemed to even care. In his journal, Randy seemed almost disappointed that his parents didn't notice he was planning something. He wore his natural selection shirt time and time again, and was shocked that
He has multiple natural selection. This is a different shirt. It's a different font. I hate him.
his parents didn't catch the reference.
But Eric Harris had a white t-shirt, black text, natural selection. I bought 3 of them, yet none of you knew what it meant, which blew my mind.
I
didn't
was
want to tell you
right.
that, so I kept
I
it
was
under
right.
wraps.
Here he is, just constantly sending out random signals and hoping that somebody knows what he's saying. You can't do this. People don't know what's going on in your head. You need to be you need to get the communication skills to communicate that. Be sad. Like, go into your hole for a little bit. I get it. I've done it. Do it for a few weeks. Do it for a few months. The minute that you start having homicidal ideations, you need to ask for help. In the same way that people have suicidal ideations, I know it. It's true. Some people have homicidal ideations, and we don't like to talk about it, but it happens. And if you have that, you need to go get help before you do something stupid.
Situations where it's like, wow, that was one of them, or that was a warning sign right there.
He wondered in his journal if he would have fangirls who would obsess over him. That'd be great, he wrote. He began tweeting a series of alarming messages, not only on his main Twitter account, but on the variety of alternate Twitter accounts he had created to roleplay or pretend to be his characters.
You know, I wrote all this dark, brutal, morbid, grim stuff into my videos, and people ate it up, and they loved it. They didn't realize that I actually meant it all. I started posting on all my social media how I really felt. Amber was always there in this dark place, like I mentioned. She fueled me to do this. I was like, she told me to do this. Do it for the Ghost Squad. You know, we need more souls.
He even convinced himself that one of his own fictional characters.
Do it for the Ghost Squad. We need some souls. I think we can all confirm that Randy Stair is the only person in mass murderer history that doesn't have a single fangirl, because this guy is cringe as fuck.
He had created, Mackenzie, was his soulmate. He drew himself as a ghost girl with Mackenzie holding hands. Captioned, love this girl.
I'm doing it.
Posing as these characters on multiple Twitter accounts, he on their personalities and pretended he was all of them, tweeting at each other, but really just at himself. Before Randy's big plan, the Ember Ghost Squad Twitter account tweeted, "If you think your body is ready for June 7th, then you're gravely mistaken. 17 days is your calendar marked. Hashtag big things. Hashtag June 7th. As the days counted down to his plan, he posted under his Mackenzie account, "I can't take my eyes off the countdown clock. Andrew isn't crazy, just caught in the middle of two worlds and dimensions. People don't see or understand that." Looking back on these Twitter accounts just feels weird, as you're looking in on Randy's alter egos. Randy made his character Mackenzie calm and shy, while he made his other character Rachel violent and angry. In speaking through his characters, he would tweet back and forth about his plans in the wide open for everyone to see. The only thing I can think is maybe people assumed the edgy and haunting content of the posts was Randy's way of really getting into the ghost-themed characters. But to him, the fun and games, the pretending, had ended a long time ago. What might be most notable about his accounts is his character Rachel's clear obsession with Columbine. Clearly, his two worlds were now inextricably intertwined. At this point, Randy was...
What the f***? You aren't faster than my bullet. I bet he thought this tweet was so f***ing cool. Too bad he literally just stole this from Pumped Up Kick. Get out. I hate.
Columbine. Clearly, his two worlds were now inextricably intertwined. At this point, Randy was completely lost in his fictional world and convinced that he would die and come back as one of his characters. It was his own fantasy that would spell his doom. And as his social media antics continued and time slowly ran out,
Listen
it
to
should
the
have been
killer's
obvious
voice.
to anyone following his Twitter accounts that something was very wrong. Here's where things get chilling. Randy wanted to go out with a bang.
Oh,
and
yes,
in a
Bob.
sickening twist, he decided it would all come down to a coin flip. Whether he would commit a massacre at home or at the supermarket where he worked the night shift. And this is what happened.
Okay, so here's the deal. Got a 1983 quarter right here. You believe in fate? Here's the fate test. I'm gonna flip this 3 times, or the best out of 3 rather, and...
I know he did not record this trying to... Here's the fate test, the final decision of who's gonna die today. While he came up with this Amy Bishop ass, Willy Wonka ass haircut. All you had to do was take the scissors and just trim the sides a little bit. When it starts to fold under the ears, you look corny as fuck. All he had to do was trim this shit up a little bit on the side, and he's trying to sit here looking all intimidating while he's like this. You're kidding me. You're kidding me.
If it's heads, I'll do it here. If it's tails, supermarket.
I don't even want to watch.
Best of 3.
Oh, best of 3.
Here we go.
Don't edit the video, Randy.
I'm not gonna touch it. You will see it as I see it.
Oh, because he's so honest. I hate him.
If I can find it. There it is. That's the tails. See that? 2. Looking at it.
Land you some.
He could have just recorded 5 of these and then spliced the ones together he wanted.
Heads. Had to be, huh? Have to have it come down to the very last coin flip. Okay, this is it. For all the marbles. Except we're playing for like much more than marbles here.
You know what? How fucking funny would it be if, you know, right now I was going to say in heaven, but in hell, Randy's watching us right now, looking down on this stream. And then what if I just skip over his dramatic coin flip that nobody fucking cares about? Fucking loser.
It was decided
Randy,
with something
we didn't
as silly and
watch
trivial as the
it!
flip of a coin. The fates of innocent people were sealed, and they had no idea about any of it.
Ready to die. Ready to go. 6 more nights, it'll all be over. You hear that? That's how quiet it's gonna be in my house for a week. I want to know how everyone's gonna take this. How much they're gonna cry. How long are they gonna cry for? For all I know, this story could just be headlines one day around here and then be gone. Might not even become anything for all I know.
On June 1st, 2017, Randy posted that he was going to need the help of his fans the next Wednesday night. Randy said he needed someone to...
Careful, the Ghost Girls might be... Hey guys, if I die tonight, it was probably Ember!
Heard a brief live stream of him.
I decided to broadcast it live on Facebook. I know something's gonna end the stream. It's gonna get cut short. I get reported, flagged, whatever.
In his next message on June 2nd, Randy talks about the Westboro High Massacre video he made, which he promised would come out on June 7th.
What happened? What the happened, man? This is surreal right now, but I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think this is gonna be my last video. I don't know what will happen to my channels after this. I don't know what people are gonna think of me after this. It doesn't bother me, but just looking at everyone at the supermarket, the manager's coming in, just messing around, talking about this, and 4 more nights, your whole lives are gonna be turned upside down because of me. Closed for like a month or go out of business. It's a crime scene. It's gonna be a crime scene. And then it'll be over. And everything will just be thrown away. Whoever would have thought that a cartoon
Willy
character
Wonka
would
thinks he's
cause
cool
this
as fuck.
A cartoon character. How can a cartoon character bring all this out in you? How is that even possible? The biggest question will always be, why? And I partially told you why. I'm not gonna tell you everything. And there's stuff that you still don't know about.
Cry baby, make something!
Ray, Em, you want a chip? I'm not a psychopath. I don't hunt people down and kill them. I need to eat something substantial. I'm dying.
Cringe version manifesto.
Take away YouTube, I'm nothing.
I need to read some of these. Somebody said, we didn't watch it, Randy. That's good. Biggest Loser thinks killing equals fangirls. Weirdo gets a gun. Penis coin flipping head dweeb. Big loser was versus ghost girlfriend.
There's other dimensions out there besides Earth. There's gonna be a big eternal war. I will be laughing my white ghost female ass off. When I get messages saying, you know, I help people get through dark times, or I change their life, you know, or my videos make them laugh their ass off or put a smile on their face. You know, that's all I ever really wanted deep down. It wasn't there in the beginning. Like in the beginning, I just wanted to be like, I wanted to get famous from it. That was pretty much it. But I was like Onision that had an actual decent fan base pretty much. Personally, I actually used to watch Onision back in 2009.
We're not surprised.
I used to use his music in my videos. And I just sort of went, like, alright, he's making really weird that I don't care about. So, because he would cross-dress and I'm like, no thanks. Even though I cross-dress myself. It's kind of funny. Pretty similar with some things we view. I say really brutal shit on Twitter sometimes. But people support it sometimes. It blows my mind. It's like, cool. It's a man's world. Men. Women are better. I'm gonna miss you guys. I really am. My emotions just aren't what they used to be. Yet the most random thing in the world can make me cry. But things that are supposed to make you cry, they don't. Let It Go and Frozen made me cry. A lot.
Okay, so the video title is going to be Cry Baby Kills 4 People. Like, that's his new name, Cry Baby.
Life's real short. Sometimes it feels like an eternity, but life's so damn short. And look at me, it's like I blinked and I was 24 and a half. And I'll die 24 and a half. I'm gonna be dead before next week ends. I'll be dead. Legit dead. This is it. So, okay, I'll miss you guys. I'll miss you a lot. Some of you, maybe I'll see you on the other side. And this is Andrew Blaine.
Crybaby Brony writes a manifesto. That's a gifted sub.
Time. Enjoy the rest of your lives. Andrew, out.
7th, just hours before the horror that was about to unfold, Randy posted his final video to YouTube, his big animation project. It starts out and shows him loading 2 shotguns, which he calls the Twins.
Yo, that right there. What did his shirt say?
It starts out and
There it is. His shirt. It says, "It's our time to rise. Would like to confirm this is all retribution. Here's somebody that felt like they were at the bottom of the totem pole. And here's one thing I'll give him. I don't think this person had the communication skills of some people to know that their needs are valid and to ask for those needs. And I get it. It happens to a lot of us. But most of us don't break and fall in love with ghost characters, claim to be transgendered while we're homophobic at the same time, and use as an excuse to kill elderly people because we think that elderly people should just go. Okay, that's not what most of us are doing. So this person is crazy on top of not knowing how to ask for their fucking needs, and now they're saying, nobody paid attention to me, it's time for my retribution. And these types of people should absolutely be made fun of. Something else you guys probably didn't know. Part of the reason I've been doing true crime on Twitch for about 5 years now, on and off. Part of the reason that I went full force in this channel is because I don't know if you guys remember this, but about a year ago, there was a huge boom of commentary channels that would essentially make fun of other YouTubers. That's what they did all the time. And they were just nonstop getting all these views and doing all this shit, talking shit about other YouTubers. And personally, I don't want to do that. Sounds like too much drama. And also, people make mistakes. You know who deserves to get made fun of? Murderers and serial killers and mass killers and people that don't resolve their trauma and then commit violent acts for absolutely no reason. So part of the reason why I do this now is because I think that it's funny making fun of people that actually should be made fun of and be made an example of so that this does not happen again. People glorified Columbine, and I think the solution to that is to make fucking fun of Randy Stair. That's just my opinion.
Named Mackenzie and Rachel after his favorite.
If I get hate for that shit,
before he stuffs them into
please
a
defend
duffel
me.
bag.
I gave them names. The first one I bought, I called Rachel.
Hi, Liz.
And then I
Thank
called
you.
the smaller one Mackenzie, after Mackenzie West. As much as you might find it hard to believe, in this poster, I'm the one wrapping my arms around her. That's me.
Again, this is a reference to Columbine, as Eric Harris also named his firearm. But Randy didn't stop there. Eric had etched the name into the firearm.
Just like Eric
and
did.
Randy decided to do the exact same thing.
Now I duct taped the pistol grip thanks to Eric Harris.
It's in this video that he proclaims, "I've been stepped on my whole life, not anymore. I've had enough of this putrid planet and I'm gonna leave my mark." Yeah.
He was upset because no one noticed him before. And he felt like people were like making fun of him or didn't appreciate him. And then he does this and gets made fun of by millions more people.
And it honestly makes me wonder what was a bigger motivator for him in the end. The rebirth as a ghost girl he so desperately wished for, or simply getting the attention he desired for so long.
Where's God?
You're looking at the beginning of his video right now, hours before what happened. At this point, Randy isn't being discreet. In fact, he practically bragged that something was going to happen. It was in plain sight now, and there was still time to stop
So I'm pausing again. I can't stop. Frunk just said, shout out to everyone that has overcome their trauma, and shout out to everyone that's working on it. One in the chat if you're in that club. We love us. Let's take a minute to appreciate us. Everyone in the chat that has had problems before, didn't kill anybody, and is working on themselves.
No one reported a thing.
I started talking with a girl.
So many
online,
ones. Love you
I started
guys.
talking to her about the shotgun I got. She was one of only 2 people I told about the shotgun.
Clearly, something dark is about to happen, but I have to warn you that what happens next is extremely disturbing. Especially because this is the kind of thing that seems like it could happen anywhere.
Here we go, guys.
The next day, in the early morning hours of June 8th, 24-year-old Randy was working his night shift at the store. He and 4 other employees of the store were stocking the shelves while they got ready to close. It was well after midnight, and the store was quiet as they were all pretty tired. But because they all wanted to get the work done and head home, none of the other employees noticed that Randy wasn't actually doing his job. Instead of helping close the store and stock shelves, he was creeping to each of the exits and barricading them with pallets, trapping everyone inside. This calm and calculated preparation is especially chilling to me because there were so many chances to second-guess the plan and turn back before it was too late. Randy took none of them.
It's not chilling. F*** him.
He casually walks to the emergency exit and pushes a pallet in front of the door before he goes back to cleaning up the store. When he pauses again, none of his co-workers think anything of it, especially because Randy is on his phone. What no one knew was that Randy was sending out a few different videos and posts, which were all detailed plans of the disturbing thing he was going to do next. On one of his Twitter accounts, he uploaded videos.
I can't stop roasting. I can't stop. I can't. I know that this when this gets uploaded to YouTube, everyone's gonna be like, Boze, please stop pausing. I thought at first the narrator meant that he was like on the phone talking with somebody, and I was about to say, Randy wasn't talking to nobody, because nobody was gonna pick up Randy's crazy ass calls in the last month of this delusion while he's waiting to get reincarnated as what he says a white ghost girl, and not white as in just Caucasian, is because he just wanted to be pale. Randy, ain't nobody talking to Randy. He's sitting here on his phone.
Was called German Digital Set, and most concerningly, one called Suicide Tapes. At 10 p.m. he tweeted as Mackenzie, I hope we were able to get you through the day. I always hate goodbyes, but it's more like, see you later. Thank you, Mackenzie. Just before 1 a.m., right before the massacre, he tweeted as Rachel, me and Andrew are going to give the world a little insight as to what really lurks around in the shadows of your everyday lives. As soon as he was sure that the videos and tweets were up, Randy begins his sinister plan, something that everyone on the internet can now see coming. But his unsuspecting co-workers have no idea that they're trapped in a nightmare that Randy has already made sure they can't escape.
The 24-year-old who was obsessed with Nickelodeon.
Blocked, Randy marches his way to the main entrance to the store, where he locks the doors and blocks them with another pallet. Then he pulls out the 2 pistol-grip pump-action shotguns he had hidden in the duffel bag that he brought to work. Randy had brought 2 guns just in case one of them breaks down on him or jams and he has no way of fixing it. As you'll see, Randy has taken great care to ensure that everything will go according to his gruesome plan. Eerily calm, Randy walks through the store, shotguns ready. The details of what happens next are debated.
I don't think that I want to stream what he did. I don't think I want that. I really don't. And some of you guys might think that I'm really corny for this. Like, you'd be like, yo, it doesn't matter, the person's dead, because Randy Stair is dead. We'll look at his little crazy little delusions and stuff like that, but I do not want to highlight how he killed people or the manners in which he treated people as he was killing them, and I think that's gonna go in depth here. So I'm actually gonna skip on it. That.
With his computer as evidence. Together, these materials painted a clear picture for authorities.
But I should at least tell you guys what happened.
Reinforced that Randy was struggling with his gender identity and really documented his declining mental health. But the tapes he released that night, filmed over the past year planning the supermarket massacre, were the most telling, especially the strange details he focused on. You see, Randy was acutely concerned that his parents would throw away his posters after what happened, something that really shows how narcissistic he was. In the middle of planning a massacre, he was worried about his posters.
The show that's doing this, they're gonna try to describe the murder in detail, in a like chilling production kind of way, which I respect. It's a YouTube channel, it's fine. I'm gonna read you guys what Randy did from Wikipedia in the most monotone form possible. So he blocked off a bunch of the exits, and then around 12 a.m. he sends out links to multiple files on his Twitter account right before he does the murder. That's what he was doing on his phone. And then he goes back in, blocks the exits, he locked the automatic doors, and then he pulls out 2 pistol grip pump action shotgun. I bet you he pulled them out at the same time and thought he was fucking cool. Duffel bag. He walked around the store and he killed 3 employees. The names of the victims were Victoria Brong, Brian Hayes, and Terry Lee Sterling. This was not the person they just talked about that had the music in. He then approached another coworker, Kristen, who had not heard the shooting due to her music, so that's her, with headphones. And he was on the CCTV, standing behind her, tried to shoot her. He proceeded to fire at the glass and other merchandise. And then Randy shot at multiple portable propane tanks, really trying to pull an Eric Harris here and blow it up, which failed to explode. Oh, buddy, just like your idol, you're both failures. Around this time, Newell took off her headphones, hearing the gunshots. She hid in the crew room and called 911. So that girl they talked about before we cut that, she actually survived. Stair concluded his shooting of the store's contents. He went to the deli section, placed the shotgun in his mouth, and then committed suicide. A total of 59 shots had been fired. What the fuck was he doing? What was he doing? What do you mean 59 shots were fired? At who? At what? What the fuck is going? What biggest fucking loser? This is the biggest fucking
Honestly,
loser of all time.
hope that you guys do give these posters to fans. You know, this room was something special. You know, the posters completely border the room. It looks amazing in here. Nobody's room looks quite like mine does. If you really think about it, it's very unique. I mean, you'll have my phone and all that. You could just post on my social media. Would anyone want these? You know, and I autographed the back of them. I autographed the back of all of them. So, you know, they're worth something.
But what's most clear in his tapes is how
He autographed what?
Media. Would anyone want these? You know,
No.
and I autographed the back of them.
No.
I autographed the back of all of them. So, you know, they're worth something.
But what's
I've
most clear
collected
in
true
his
crime
tapes is how
memorabilia, and
baffled
I
Randy
don't
was
want that.
Somehow, no one took notice of the warning signs, especially his parents.
The warning signs were always there. They were there from the beginning. You could always say, what if, what if, what if? What could we have done? You know, how didn't we know? It was all there in front of your face. You know, welcome to reality.
In these final videos Randy released the night of the massacre, it's abundantly clear that he's lost all touch with reality. He even says that he believes the cartoon character Ember is a goddess.
I believe in a goddess, which is Ember.
He went so far as to document his unapologetic anticipation while sitting in his car, talking about how his colleagues are blissfully unaware of his plans. There are hours and hours of tapes to pore over, and that's what makes this case so chilling. Something I found shocking was just how precisely Randy had planned everything that was going to happen. Not only
Are you supposed to shoot with a shotgun this far away? Is this effective?
Something I found shocking was just how precisely Randy
I mean, it
had
just
planned
sucks, but
everything that was
sorry,
going
it
to
was a
happen.
shoulder-fired weapon.
Not only did he know who he would
What
be
is he
working with and made sure
Wait.
to have two
Oh, wait.
to upload in the hour directly preceding the shooting. Randy also took the time to send an email to the actress who voiced the cartoon character Ember in the series he had created. Less than an hour before he shot his co-workers, Randy thanked her and said that by the time she read the email, he would be dead. Clearly, he had some very strange priorities in his last moments, but what's really crazy about this email is that in it, Randy apparently claims that he had a true purpose to his videos, including the final one, the promised Westboro High Massacre. The voiceover actress didn't go into the details about what exactly Randy's true purpose for the videos were, but I'm guessing it had something to do with his belief that when he died, he would cross over to the animated world. Now, this may sound like the end of the story to you, but it isn't. And Randy didn't think it was the end either. Again, all of the videos that Randy uploaded just before he took his own life told his side of the story. The bio of his Twitter profile even said that he was speaking from before and beyond the grave. Watching his videos, I realized that they show a slow progression from the funny and goofy guy in his earlier videos into the monster who would show up on the night of the shooting. I actually found it really surreal to watch the Westboro High Massacre video myself. It starts with a swear-filled rant before it shows Randy readying two rifles, which were the ones he used in the shooting. Randy even went so far to make part of his final video a tribute to himself, with clips of him playing and sad music underneath. It's interesting to consider why exactly Randy targeted the supermarket. In his journal entries,
Oh, he played sad music. Why? Oh, poor him.
So I started having
So
grades
punishing
and
his
applying for
father,
jobs and
using other people. I think he killed 4 people. Using other people to punish his dad, basically.
just,
Oh,
I hated him. Didn't
Oh,
even
it
wanna
gets
look at him.
worse.
And then all he seemed to care about was like
Well,
me getting a
thank you.
full-time job. And you hear that? That's me clapping and applauding from the heavens above. When's the last time you ever said you were proud of me?
from hell below, Randy.
When's the last time you ever said, I love you? And I'll tell you one thing. Back in elementary school, middle school, I used to worry about Dad dying the most out of anyone in this house because I loved him back then. Once high school took off and college and all that, I found it impossible to love him anymore. And I just started hating guys more than anything.
something I tracked down which gave me a new insight beyond what you might find about the Weiss Market shooting was Randy's autopsy report. In addition to the gruesome details,
What was he on fucking
the
crack?
autopsy revealed a couple of really interesting things, and as I go through what I found, the details will only get more intriguing.
It's crack.
Reading the autopsy report, I found out that Randy was wearing black makeup at the time of his death. The report says that it was on his lips and in orbit patterns, which made me think that he had drawn his makeup to look like the swirls that Ember from Danny Phantom wears around her eyes. When his body was found, he apparently had women's clothing on underneath his regular clothing. And here's the most interesting find. Randy had 372 milliliters of diphenhydramine in his system when he died.
Okay, this is Benadryl. Why the is he on that much Benadryl? Sometimes people will use Benadryl for anti-anxiety because it's Benadryl is like the step down of what you give an addict for anti-anxiety. If you can't give them Xanax, you give them Benadryl. Or if a doctor doesn't trust you to like give you that kind of shit, they'll give you Benadryl or something like that. So it makes me wonder if he took a whole bunch of Benadryl just to calm himself down before it happened.
As soon as I saw this, I realized something. Randy would have been essentially suffering from an overdose that night. His vision would have been blurred. He could have felt really confused, unsteady, or drowsy. And most startlingly, he could have been suffering from seizures and hallucinations as well. I can only speculate about why Randy may have chosen to take this much of something that would harm him, but I think it's interesting to consider that he could have been seeing or hearing things that night.
This one gave me a headache. Like, this one was rough, dude.